This is a game called Vegas Tales, random FMV game. I know fuck all about it. I saw a drag queen playing it on Twitch, and I was like, this looks funny, and it's an FMV game, so I want to play it. And that's what we're going to do. Here we go.
Thank you for meeting with me. If this is your first visit to the Bellflower Casino Resort, I hope you're finding it a pleasant one. I've owned this place for over 30 years. Running the Bellflower has been my life's work. A life which is almost over. I have terminal cancer, and I've been fighting it for years, but my time is coming to an end. I've already come to terms with my condition, but it leaves me with a problem. I never found time to start a family, and I don't have any close friends.
He was all about the grind.
This hotel is all I have to leave to this world. It's my legacy, but I have no one to carry on that legacy once I'm gone. I need you to help me decide on the best person to inherit the Bellflower. I've made a list of 4 candidates, each of whom has a strong connection to this hotel. Unfortunately, I don't know any of them very well. I've invited them all here for the weekend under the guise that you want to do an interview with them for a book that you're writing about the hotel. Now, they're being paid a healthy stipend for their time, so you'll likely find them willing to answer any questions you may have.
Can I inherit the hotel?
I want you to learn everything you can about
Please?
them, and report back to me if you discover anything relevant. Their names are Ashley, Mallory, Sarah, and the last one is a couple of newlyweds named Todd and Becca.
Oh, okay. Like I said, chat, this is me just like, let's just go. All right. This game, I don't know much about it. I feel like I recognize this actor. Tuvok, the principal from iCarly. Yeah, you guys will have to tell me because I wouldn't recognize the principal from iCarly. I don't even think I'd recognize iCarly. I don't know. All he is to me is Mr. Davenport. Thank you very much, chat. I think the chick from Halloween Town is in this as well. I don't know. I'm just, right, that's it. I don't know. You guys can pontificate about that as much as you want. I'm going to ask questions to Mr. Davenport. Tell me about Ashley.
Ashley is a magician. She's been holding her magic show here at the Bellflower since we added a theater during our last renovation. She's been here longer than any employee, and she's as financially tied to this place as anybody, aside from myself.
Give her the hotel.
She's a private person, so I don't know much about her personal life.
Okay, what about Mallory?
Mallory is the unluckiest person I've ever met.
That reminds me of
She's
the
also
Mallory
one of
that
the
I know.
nicest. I've
Mallory,
never seen
aka
so
Zero
much tragedy
Doxy.
befall such an undeserving person.
This is actually her.
I unfairly gave her a hard time when we first met, but we get along well now. I gave her a complimentary stay here at the hotel to apologize, and she wouldn't stop talking about how much she loved it here. I think she might even like my hotel more than I do. Like the others on my list, I don't know very much about her.
This is like a weird plot for a game, but it's kind of sweet. Where he's like, well, I want someone to inherit this that deserves it. There's something quite sweet about this. What about Sarah?
Sarah is the daughter of the Goodley family. She's been staying here with her parents on family vacation.
Nobody with a surname
years.
like Goodley can be a good person.
Their family is so wholesome that they make the Brady Bunch seem edgy.
Yeah, she's got a dark secret, I'm telling you.
They're a welcome breath of fresh air here in Las Vegas, and I love the idea of someone with very strong moral values like Sarah taking over the hotel.
There's no way she doesn't have like a dark secret. What about the newlyweds?
I barely know anything about those two. Their names are Becca and Todd. I met them today when they were checking in. They came to Las Vegas to get married, and this trip is also doubling as their honeymoon. Yeah, I know it must seem odd to consider leaving my estate to a couple I barely know, but honestly, I barely know any of the people I'm considering. I figure that if they're staying here for their wedding and their honeymoon, then
What?
they're going to have a very strong emotional connection to the Bellflower Hotel. Plus, it almost seems like fate that they happened to check in today while I'm trying to make this decision. I'm counting on you to ascertain whether or not they're good people worthy of consideration as heirs.
What? It's just like a random couple. Imagine staying somewhere in Las Vegas and then while you're staying there, they're like, by the way, you own this hotel now. Excuse me? Also, this guy doesn't have any friends.
I don't need friends. They disappoint me.
None? Not a single friend. All right. So here's Ashley, Mallory, Sarah Goodley, Becca and Todd. Oh my god. Todd. I'm already getting fuckboy vibes from Todd. I'm going to talk to these two first. I have a feeling they're going to be the funniest.
My name is Becca.
And I'm Todd.
We're from New York City.
Is that it? A little more, please.
This is where Todd said we had to stay when we came to Vegas.
Yeah, we're in town for our wedding.
We actually ran into the owner of the hotel while we were checking in, and he overheard us saying we were getting married, so he upgraded us to a big suite, which was such a nice surprise.
And he was even more surprised when he asked if we wanted to be interviewed for your book. I mean, this is certainly turning out to be a memorable trip.
I would hope it'd already be memorable, but with our wedding and all.
Oh, of course. That was a poor choice of words on my part.
This is quite well acted, actually. The actor for Todd there, some of the way he delivered his lines, this is weird. This FMV game, although it's a little weird and campy, I feel like so far the acting's been surprisingly good. Vegas is apparently the next question.
A Las Vegas wedding was her idea. I told her we could get married anywhere that she wanted.
Vegas seemed perfect. It's affordable, and it can double as a honeymoon.
Oh, plus it has casinos. She loves those.
Oh, and it has strip clubs. Todd loves those. He actually made a list of all the clubs he wants to see before we leave.
It was just a list of places. And there's one club on the list, but it's places that I want to see from the outside.
Todd grew up in a very religious household, so he can be a little embarrassed about these things. It's okay, sweetie. I've seen your list. It's perfectly normal for a man to want to see naked ladies.
Oh, so she's a cool girlfriend. Quote unquote. She's a cool girlfriend that gets it. Imagine saying to someone, you can choose anywhere on the planet to get married, and they're like, Las Vegas. Las Vegas? Really? That was your choice? Where would you guys pick? If any of you want to get married out there, if you could get married anywhere, where would you pick? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Las Vegas has an appeal. I wouldn't really get married in Vegas. I would get divorced in Vegas, I think, is more the way that I would think about it. Would you kill me if I said Scotland? No, absolutely. Scotland, I could totally see the appeal. Ireland, Scotland. No, I could totally see the appeal of a Scottish wedding. There's lots of hotels around here that do like crazy business for weddings and stuff.
I wanted to get married in a church back home, but Becca wanted to do something original. Isn't that
So
right?
you chose Vegas?
Yeah, we also couldn't afford a big wedding. You know, Todd's work has been a little slow lately.
Well, I'm an actor, and all actors have dry spells. Just part of the industry. Plus, Becca has a lot of debt, so we probably shouldn't be spending too much money right now.
Right now, he's actually playing Elmo in Times Square. He takes his picture with tourists all day. He's so cute in the costume.
Yeah, I'm not Elmo.
Okay. Legally, he is a generic red creature, but we all know who he's supposed to be.
Ooh. You can feel the cracks in the foundation already. Yes. New York City?
I mean, I love New York. We have the best
All right.
sports
All right,
teams,
Madonna.
the best nightclubs.
I love
the
New
best
York.
restaurants. It's an incredible place.
I love New
Even
York.
if I didn't have to live there for work, I don't think I could ever move.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many things you can only get in New York. You can't get anywhere else. You should really visit if you haven't been before.
There's this brony convention Todd goes to every
He's
year.
a brony?
Even if we moved, he'd have to go back every year.
What?
No way he could miss it. It's all he talks about for a month leading up to it.
Oh, I already love this game. What a plot twist. He's a brony? One of the questions here. So I'm reading out the question. They're all like one words, basically. Brony convention?
It's a convention for My Little Pony fans.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds.
I mean, lots of adults go. Actually, it's almost entirely adults who go. Yeah, I think the TV show is super sweet, but I've only been with Todd once. They don't really like girls going. I think it kind of messes with the whole bro part of brony.
My little Todd. He has his little convention with his little friends. Did this couple meet on baggage? For real. The 3 questions I have left are actor, ? Church, ? And debt, ? Which basically that's like my father's life summed up. Actually, maybe not so much the church thing. I don't think he was that religious, but actor, ? And debt, ? Definitely my dad summed up.
I think street performer is more of an appropriate term. He's
Don't-
never done any sort of
don't do that.
stage acting.
Don't-
But I do have some exciting things lined up,
mhm.
actually. I'm going to be in an upcoming film in New York.
It's a role in an unpaid student film, but it's a great start.
It's a very promising student film. It's going to be seen by a lot of people, and the exposure is worth more than the money, believe me.
It's a film about campus safety.
Oh,
They
wow.
say that new students are going to see it for years.
Can't wait to see you in the next Marvel movie,
I
Todd.
just wish Todd had booked a speaking part. He has the talent.
Oh, well, thank you, dear. Thank you.
Can't wait for them. Can't wait to see him be the next Marvel superhero.
Oh, I'm not a student. I just responded to an ad on the internet.
He actually dropped out of high school.
I wanted to focus on my career. Yeah, I was actually working for a cell phone company at the time, and it was a great job. I was making good money, and I wanted to move up, but they downsized, and a lot of us lost our jobs.
They laid off all the sign spinners at once, which was such a shame because Todd was so talented at it. We actually met when he was sign spinning on the corner at my apartment. He
What
caught
the
my eye right away.
fuck? She's just nagging this guy to oblivion. What's the deal here? Just completely nagging him. First met, question mark?
So I had just moved out of my parents' house into my parents' apartment building, and I didn't really know my way around the area. So I was running late for a meeting, and when I went outside, I saw Todd spinning his little arrow sign on the corner. So
Little
I
arrow
went up to
sign.
him and asked for directions, and instead of just telling me where to go, he spun his sign all impressively and pointed in the right direction. I was like the cutest thing.
Oh, well, she came back after a meeting and she asked for my number, and we went on our first date the next day, and I knew she was the one after our first date.
I knew it after the third.
This game's great. I fucking love this game. This is funny as hell. I knew it after the third. This is fantastic. I don't even know who made this game, why they made this game, how they made this game, but I'm already thinking this is a surprising banger. Third date, question mark?
We streamed The Notebook at my place. All my past boyfriends had refused to watch it with me. Todd not only agreed, but he cried multiple times while watching it. I knew right then if he ever proposed to me, I'd have to
I'm
say
loving
yes.
this. I'm loving this. Past boyfriends, question mark?
Oh, there were a lot of them. Am I right?
Whoa.
They were all so full of themselves. Like, they were either rich or famous, or both rich and famous. The worst combination. That doesn't impress me.
They weren't as great as they sound, okay?
No, some were actually very cool. But I don't really talk to them anymore. Todd gets a little jealous when I do.
Uh-oh.
But Todd hangs out with all of his ex-girlfriends,
Uh-oh.
except Lily, of course. But, I'm not really worried about them. If he's not sleeping with me, he's definitely not sleeping with them. So,
It's like every time I ask a question in this game, I get 5 more questions in my head afterwards. Lily?
Oh, Lily, she was just the worst. I wasted 6 months of my life dating her, and that is all that needs to be said.
she used to physically abuse Todd.
Oh, God.
I'm so proud of him for breaking up with her.
Oh, well, that's
Even
terrible.
more for talking about it.
It's not really what she makes it sound like. She doesn't know the whole picture.
I mean, Todd could have easily defended himself. But the thing about Todd is he would never hit a woman. Ever.
Well, no real man ever would.
Especially Lily. I mean, I don't think I could hit a 95-pound elderly woman either.
What? What the fuck is going on in this game? Okay, good. No hit. No hit. Okay, famous question. This game is just... Yeah, I'm with you, chat. Huh? Everything that they say, I'm like, what?
I used to date this famous singer. I'm not going to name drop because that's gauche, but you definitely know who he is.
A lot of women have been with musicians, and to be honest with you, we all know that musicians are not one-woman men.
It was actually pretty serious between us. I mean, he asked me to move in with him. I met his parents. It was kind of the real deal.
Oh, well, I guess he was a good one, but I feel bad for her because he broke up with her.
Actually, I never told Todd this, but I was still with the singer when I met him. I didn't break up with the singer until we became official. It's crazy to think, if I hadn't met Todd when I did, I totally could have been married to the wrong person right now.
So, you cheated on him with me.
So I never told you this.
This game is kind of making me want to die, but I'm loving that. I'm kind of loving the fact that this dynamic is making me want to die a little. This is This is trash TV. We were witnessing trash TV. This is like fucking 90 Day Fiancé, but just an interview. This is fantastic. We should watch another 90 Day Fiancé. I know it drove us insane eventually by the end, but I think another TLC series like that. I just have to be careful because Teen Mom was my first DMCA, Team Mom. Team Mom 2. Every question a fresh cup of tea is spilled. I know, right? Anyway, parents' apartment building? Oh, we're zooming
My
in.
parents own a small apartment building on the Upper East Side. They
s-
let me live there rent free.
Okay, so that's a lot of money.
For utilities. Todd's gonna move in with me once we're married. Apricot's gonna have to move out, but it's totally gonna be worth it.
Is that a cat? Apricot?
My puppy. Her name's Apricot.
He's
Unfortunately,
allergic?
Todd
Yep.
is severely allergic to dogs, so she can't be living with us. But I'm sure it won't be hard to find someone who wants to adopt an adorable little teacup Pomeranian. I'll miss her, though.
So what does she see in him? I mean, he's a good enough looking enough guy, but almost everything she said about him is like, yeah, he's a total fucking loser. Maybe she likes that though. Maybe she kind of likes the loser vibe. Proposed? Question mark?
Todd's proposal was the most unique one I ever had.
How many people have proposed to you before me?
You were the fourth. I told you this. Oh, the first guy was at the Eiffel Tower.
Ugh.
So cliche. Second guy did the whole, wedding ring at the bottom of a champagne flute at the 5-star restaurant on Valentine's Day. We've all seen it.
Yeah, these guys have no originality.
The third guy was the worst.
Oh, let me hear it.
He
Let me
put
hear
the
it.
proposal up on the Jumbotron at a basketball game.
Okay, that's actually
Like,
ugh.
how was that supposed to
That one I
impress
find a bit
me?
ugh, actually,
He
for real.
literally owned the basketball team. He could make it say anything
He
wanted.
owned the basketball team.
That sort of stuff, it doesn't go far with me.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just the lucky.
How did he do it? Let's find out. Go on.
What's the next question?
You know what the next question is.
Okay, so Todd was helping me lose weight at the time.
She asked me to help.
And, I'd asked this of other boyfriends before, and they always dismissed me. They were like, "Hun, you're perfect as you are." And I was like, I don't want you dismissing me. If something's important to me, I want my boyfriend to take it seriously, too.
Again, I was just trying to help. That's all I was.
Oh, he did more than that. He tracked my weight loss.
Uh-oh.
He kept a log of everything I was eating.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it was like having my own personal trainer at home.
Yeah, it was, she laid out everything she wanted me to do, and I just did what she asked me to.
And there was like this stubborn last few pounds I just could not seem to get off no matter what. So Todd told me he would marry me if I hit my target weight.
Oh my god.
And that was all the incentive I needed.
Oh my
I should have
God.
lost 3 pounds. Stat. I lost it so fast he didn't even have time to save up for the ring.
Well, I thought I was going to have more time.
I literally just didn't eat for 4 days.
Jesus Christ.
It was all the motivation I needed.
Fucking hell. It's like staring into the abyss. Christ. I mean, I kind of understand it's like, if it's important to me, I want you to take it seriously. But it's like comical how much they've written this so that they're terrible. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, about the ring.
We just decided to skip the whole engagement ring thing and the wedding band thing. It's such an outdated concept. Plus, Todd thinks it's a waste of money.
Well, engagement rings are a scam. There's a great Adam Ruins Everything video about that, actually.
Oh my god, it even
Plus,
did the
I
glasses
deal with a lot of
thing.
high-profile clients at work, so if I had a ring, it would have to be huge, something that Todd couldn't afford, really. I know that sounds shallow, but, people really do judge you for the clarity and size of your diamonds, so it's best I just don't have one at all.
It's best I just don't have one at all. With all my high-profile clients. I'm intrigued to see if everyone else is this awful. Oh, there's no way that this Brady Bunch family doesn't have some sort of skeleton in the closet.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff. Yes, she did. The entire house is dark-sided.
High-profile clients?
Our firm represents a number of well-known clientele. I'm not really at liberty to name names, but there's a few athletes and politicians who you might have heard of.
I was actually an athlete. I was the star player on my high school football team. And I would have gone pro. Everyone would know my name, but I had a knee injury, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at him. He would have totally made the NFL had it not been for the injury. I mean, once he kicked a 20-yard field goal in a high school game, that is extremely unheard of from what I understand. I almost went pro in gymnastics, but that didn't work out for me.
Guys, I have a theory. She said that a wedding ring wouldn't be good with her clients, and she has high-profile clients. Is she a prostitute? Because she entertains clients, and they're high-profile, and she seems to make quite a lot of money. Maybe. Okay, I think some of the questions here have, that thread has been, exhausted, so now it's going back to more general ones. Gymnastics?
When I was very little, I trained under the famous Italian gymnastics coach, Sergio Endolini. My parents were convinced I was going to make it to the Olympics. I had the leotards and...
That's enough. Sergio Endolini isn't a real person, all right? We're not married. The only reason I said we were married is because I wanted to get a free room upgrade at the hotel.
As you can tell, he's a cheapskate.
Well, as you can tell, she is a hooker.
Okay, I'm not a hooker. I am a sex worker.
Oh,
Quite right.
And we didn't even have sex because you were busy crying the whole time.
Not
so...
true, not true, not true.
No, it is.
The
The
tea!
reason I'm still sitting next to this person is because I wanted to be paid for this book, so... And now, you
The
ruined
tea!
it. Oh, thank you.
I ruined it.
Yeah,
You're
did.
the one who made me look like a complete loser.
He kind of is.
You know what? I'm sorry for wasting your time. Goodbye.
I haven't even asked you about
Can I
church.
still get paid?
Can I still get paid? That's it. Like, the other questions I can't do anymore. They're gone. There's no other questions. They disappeared. Oh shit, Sinow, you called it. Yeah. I mean, it was hinted at, right? Oh my god. What a reveal. It just says here, you should speak to someone else. Sorry, I know my face is covering that up, but there isn't a lot of text here, so I can just read it out for you anyway. Becca and Todd aren't on their honeymoon. They lied to get a room upgrade.
Well, that's disappointing. I guess there's no reason to consider them as potential heirs anymore.
Unless... Imagine... I wonder if you can still just pick them anyway. Maybe you can. Okay, who should I talk to next? Let's talk to Ashley, who looks like she could be a Dead by Daylight fan. Tell me about yourself.
I'm Ashley. I live here in Las Vegas.
Hi.
I spend most of my time practicing magic, and I am single.
Oh my god, I love her already.
What else do you want to know?
I love her. She's giving me a certain kind of vibe. This is going to be a certified Sinow ADHD moment here. She's only said a few words to me, and I think I already know her vibe. The girl on the left. Same vibe.
Hey! What's up? I'm Raven, your acid bath princess of the darkness.
And I'm Tara.
And we're sitting here in Tara's room, rocking out to MCR and celebrating 2009, or the new year! Which we don't really understand why people are making such a big deal about it.
They're over it.
Because really, one more year is one more year that everyone's closer to death.
Yeah.
Whatever, suit yourself, humanity.
Congratulations.
Yeah, when you're closer to death.
I love those girls. I am seeing a video here that says the goth girls that trick the internet. I don't know if I have it in me to have that video be debunked. I think I need those 13-year-old teenagers to be real true goths.
I've been performing my magic act here since the last time it was renovated. Huh. Never heard of the place before that. I like it here. I like Mr. Davenport, too. He's very hands-off. I appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to give me input about my show.
They were real true mall goths, which is why they parodied goths. I saw an interview with the girl on the left. She's awesome. Good. Okay. So there's still like a grain of truth to it all. Thank God. Single?
I'm not great at dating.
Can't imagine why.
It's probably because I really don't enjoy getting to know people.
Oh my God, I love her.
That's why I think that dinner and a movie is the perfect first date. You have just enough time to exchange facts about each other, and then the food comes, and you can't talk because your mouth is full. Then you go sit in a dark movie theater, where talking is frowned on, and you watch a movie. It's great. Especially if you're with one of those people who insists on talking all the time. I'm great at breakups, though.
Would you like to inherit a hotel? Because I really would like to give you a hotel right now. I am very much feeling like I want to give you a hotel at the moment.
There are people who talk all the time, even when they have nothing to say. If you have nothing to say besides hello or hi, why talk?
Oh my gosh, it's me on Grindr.
I really don't enjoy misguided politeness.
Hello or hi or dick pic? No, I don't want that. I want someone I can have a conversation with. Goodbye. Misguided politeness?
It's like when someone tries to do something nice, but it has the opposite effect. Like you're walking towards a door, and you're too far away, but someone decides to hold it open for you anyway. So then you have to rush to get through the door so they don't awkwardly stand there holding it. Do you know what's easier than rushing through a parking lot to get through a door? opening it yourself when you're there.
You know what's really weird about this game? I would expect an FMV game like this to be a vehicle for a lot of like new or amateur actors who are trying to get their first couple of roles under their belt. But a lot of the people in this, I think, they're actors that have already had like other bigger roles, perhaps. So I'm kind of surprised that they're in this game. Do you know what I mean? I'm used to FMV games being a vehicle for actors that still haven't had much of a break yet, but you guys in chat are like freaking out because a lot of these actors you recognize from other like American TV programs, which is kind of cool actually. It's probably one of the reasons why the acting in this is quite good.
When you're part of a magic show, you spend countless hours practicing. We only perform 4 nights a week, so it would seem like it's an easy schedule, but we spend maybe another 30 hours practicing.
That's me talking to people about streaming.
Or if you're bringing someone new into the show, it's a lot.
Oh, I've had it. Ola soy milk. Yeah, you don't have to tell me about I've had it. Let me show you. Oh, there was a clip actually I showed Kyle recently that I need to put on my stream deck. I love this little clip of the I've had it, ladies. If you like people being a hater, which some of you might do, chat.
Humpback whales were photographed having sex, and it was gay sex.
Excellent.
I just love her. She's just like, excellent. Immediately. She hears gay sex and she's like, yes.
And it was gay sex.
Excellent.
Humpback whales.
She doesn't even know the story. She's just like, yeah, good. Okay, that's 2 tangents have gone on now. Ashley, let's get back to you. Dating apps?
I don't particularly like any of the dating apps out there right now. They're all designed to let you chat with the person before you meet them. If you chat with the person before you meet them, then you find out how horrible they are and you don't want to meet them. Then you don't even get the social rewards of having gone on a date. You know what I want? I want a dating app where you don't ever have to go on a date. Where when you
Those
match
already
with
exist.
a likely candidate, the app takes the photos that you've each submitted and places them in a likely dating scenario.
Oh no, you're beginning to sound like
Then
you
it
want
returns
AI
the photo
dating.
to you. You can put that photo on your social media platforms, and it looks like you've been on a date. And you've never had to go on a date. Everybody wins.
Would you like a hotel? Would you like a hotel, Queen? You said you're great at breakups?
The problem most people make when they're breaking up with someone is that they try to be too nice. And that's very selfish. Not the good kind of selfishness either. When you're too nice with someone and you're breaking up with them, it makes them sad. It makes them wish that you weren't leaving. It makes them think that maybe they should stay with you. When you're breaking up with someone, it is the one time of your life that you should be a complete asshole so that they actually feel relieved. They feel like a burden has been lifted. Yeah, you should always be an asshole when you're breaking up with someone. That's why I'm very good at it.
This game's great! I love this game! Why have I not heard about Vegas Tales until now? How are you a magician? I really need to know, how are you a magician?
Oh, it's understandable if you didn't know that I had my own magic act. I'm not on any of the posters. I used to be. But I learned early on that audiences expect a magician to be male. So I hired a male presenting actor as the magician. I started working as the assistant. But ticket sales, foomp, shot way up.
Magician? Question mark?
Oh, we promote it like it's his show, but he's essentially worthless. He doesn't do much of anything. I've actually replaced the actor that's played the magician 3 times. Audiences never noticed. They're fine as long as there's someone on stage who looks like they expect a magician to look. Usually with a goatee. For some reason, a goatee is mandatory.
True. For some reason, when you think of magician, you do think goatee. Also, it is very weird that magician is something that apparently is like male coded. I've never really got that. Why do people think magicians have to be male? I've never got that. It's like the difference between being a cook and being a chef. Like, why is being a chef being so traditionally male coded? That's weird. What? People are weird. People are fucking weird.
I'm not mad about it. My act has actually gotten a lot easier since I started working as an assistant and not the magician. I'll let you in on a little secret. The assistants are actually the ones who perform all the tricks in a magic act. The magician really is just there so that people have something to keep their eyes on. They're going to watch him, see if they can figure out the trick, see if he's doing anything sneaky. Everyone really just ignores the girls in the shiny outfits. But we're the ones making the tricks work. Now, magic is all about misdirection. The magician is the biggest misdirection of all.
I really love the writing in this game. It's almost like a stand-up bit or something, do you know what I mean? Somebody was just like, I'm gonna write my thoughts about random things about society. And it's really kind of cool and insightful, and it all feels a bit like stand-up, doesn't it? This game.
You can get away with anything as long as someone's attention is focused on something else. That's the key to all of magic, half of life. Everyone knows it, nobody cares. Back when I really was an assistant, I worked for a magician, the Great Zambini. He based his signature trick on
the Great Zambini.
Thing. See, we were part of a traveling carnival, and our stage was outdoors. At the beginning of the night, the back of the stage, a Zamboni was parked. It was the Zamboni. And he would tell the audience that at some point during the evening, he was going to make the Zamboni disappear, and no one would notice.
Zumbinis?
So about halfway through the evening, we would have this assistant come out that the audience had not yet seen. Her name was Kelly. She was particularly alluring. And the other assistants and I would help her up on top of a platform, and we would begin tying her up with scarves. We'd really take our time about it, make it very erotic, and Kelly would wiggle and pout and make these cute little squeaky gerbil noises.
This actor's killing it, by the way.
Happening, Zambini would pull out his keys and drive the Zamboni off stage. Then he'd run back. We would make Kelly disappear in a fairly standard trick, and when it was done, Zambini would be standing where the Zamboni was with his arms outstretched, like he had just accomplished the most amazing feat in the world. And the audience loved it. They would clap like it was the best thing ever. It was grotesquely sexist. But it worked.
Oh, I love this game so much. I cannot reiterate that enough. Yeah, all of the actors are doing great here. I love the choice of actors that they've gone for. Like I said, it's like a kind of pleasant surprise, because usually FMV games, it's like people you might not have heard of before, whereas like everybody has heard of these actors before, but it's not like, you know, Paul Rudd or whatever, but they're all doing a great job. I like this character because she's kind of like, she hates people, but she also kind of feeds off the energy of entertainment.
I haven't talked to her since we worked together. I'm sure she's doing fine. Supremely attractive people have it very easy. I'm sure she married rich or got kidnapped by human traffickers and sold on the black market.
There's the acid bath princess.
By the way, she's
out.
living in a big house with someone else paying all the bills. She's great.
I could ask about human traffickers?
They say human trafficking is a $150 billion a year industry, and I want to know how they know that.
True.
Are human traffickers reporting income tax, or are they just
good point.
making up numbers?
How do you know that? She's asking all the good questions here, for real. Black market?
You can buy anything if you know where to look. I used to buy weed on the dark web before it was legal. I know there are people who buy fake IDs on the internet. Anything. You can find it.
Wheat? Is that a wheat?
The sale of human organs is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry.
Industry? Metal Gear.
And who do you think is taking those organs out of the people who lose them and putting them into the people who need them?
I would hope a doctor.
I doubt it's someone practicing with a license. But I'm not doing it. I am not involved in that industry. I dabble in taxidermy, but I am not skilled enough to take a kidney out of someone and put it in someone else and have one of them live.
She's like me, where she's really fascinated by like the dark side of society, but a lot of people don't want to talk about that. Of course she dabbles in taxidermy, I know, right? Oh, I love her. I love her so much. I want to be her friend. She probably would hate me though, because I'm a Twitch streamer, which is, you know, wise, fair.
Taxidermy is a hobby of mine. Whenever I find a dead animal, I take it home and I stuff it. And then I save them, and when I have enough of them collected, I take them to dying children in the children's hospital. because children love stuffed animals.
Oh my gosh, she's got a heart of gold. I think. I think. I don't know if taxidermied animals are usually what kids are looking for in a stuffed animal. I don't know if that brings them comfort, but we'll find out. Why is one of the questions I could ask dying children? Dying children?
I like to visit kids in the cancer ward. Yeah, I ask them to draw me a picture, and then I trade them for one of the stuffed animals. It makes them feel better to barter. No one wants to be pitied, just given stuff. Even kids dying of cancer. I save all the pictures they give me. They say that a piece of art at least doubles in value once the artist dies, and I'm sure their parents will pay top dollar in about a decade.
I went from, she's a bit of a dick, but I love it, to, oh, she has a heart of gold, to, you're incredibly evil. So fast there. I can't keep up. One minute I'm like, oh, you're a bit of a dick, but I kind of like that. And then the next one I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, oh. Oh my god. I can't keep up. This game is too fast. Hobby?
I think everyone should have hobbies. I like taxidermy and sensory deprivation.
I'm presuming she's joking.
I made my own sensory deprivation.
She must be joking about the art thing.
I like to lie in it and be alone with my thought. It's very peaceful in there. I slept in it once. It's like sleeping in a coffin.
I knew she was going to say it was a coffin. I knew it. I knew she was going to liken it to a coffin. No way she's joking. No, I think she's joking. I think she's one of those people that tries to deliberately be as unpleasant as possible to, like, push people away. People on the internet say they want a goth girlfriend. And then when they actually get presented in real life with a real... somebody who really is a goth in many ways, they're like, no, not like that. Can't handle it. You weren't ready. Your heart wasn't ready for the true goth GF experience.
High school is awful.
I would believe you.
I mean,
yeah,
you
I
undergo
agree.
years of traumatic experiences, and then when you finally escape, they invite you back for a reunion so that you can go spend more time with the same people who made your childhood traumatic. I don't understand it. Do survivors of other traumatic experiences have reunions? I mean, do people who lived through a plane crash get together and reminisce about the turbulence they experienced before it all went pear-shaped?
Speak your truth. For those of you who live in the UK, do you have high school reunions? I'm only speaking to the people who live in the UK. No. Okay. Because I was going to say, I don't think people in the UK really do the whole high school reunion thing, and I've never been invited to one. But then I thought to myself, what if I've never been invited to a high school reunion because people didn't like me? What if actually school reunions are a thing in the UK and it's just I don't think that they're a thing in the UK because nobody liked me and they didn't invite me back? Your friend got an email about a reunion for our class. Your 20th high school reunion was held at a Denny's. Are you fucking with me, or is that a real thing? Is it maybe like an old-fashioned thing? You're not fucking with me. It was at a Denny's. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You think formal ones have died out? My older relatives have talked about them, but for now it's like a peaked in high school friendship group thing. Or sorry, but now it's for peaked in high school friendship groups. Yeah. That sounds about right to me.
I don't understand reunions or nostalgia in general. People cling to the past like it was the best part of their lives. But do you know what most people spent most of the past doing? Waiting for the future to come so their miserable lives would improve. Really makes no sense to me. I don't live in the past. I look to the future. I am so ready to be in the future. The second my contract is up, I am out of here. I am retiring to someplace very far away with very few people, and I am never going to think about Las Vegas again. Can't wait for that. Yeah, I want to see what the future holds, because I'm done here.
Remember, we have to give one of these people a hotel. Oh, that's it. It just says you should speak to someone else. Yeah, she might not like the hotel. Although maybe she could just make other people manage it and just, like, take the money from it. She might change her mind if she gets given a hotel as well, you know? So, Mallory, who are you? What's your deal again?
What is there to say? I guess
I'm a little bit down on my luck right now between jobs. I had 2 job interviews earlier this week, and I'm hoping to have more soon. I
Here,
don't
have a
like
hotel.
to admit this usually, but it might be important for your book. I'm actually homeless currently.
Oh my god, here, have a hotel.
It might surprise you that I actually came from a fairly wealthy family. My dad was some sort of hotshot furniture salesman, and my mom was a cable TV installer. We actually owned our own house. It was double wide. But yeah, I guess I always thought I'd be a big success like my parents, and I guess it's just all right that they're not around anymore so that they don't have to see what my life has turned into.
Okay, hold up.
You know, I didn't exactly meet their high expectations.
No, hold up. No, hold up. She's too perfect. She's too perfect as a sympathy case for this. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Parents not around?
Oh, I've been an orphan almost my entire life. Yeah, my parents died in a fishing accident when I was really little.
No, come on, hang on.
The only living relative I have is my Uncle Albert, but we don't really talk at all. He's been in and out of prison my whole life.
It's like borderline comical at this point. How sad it all is. Do you know what I mean? In a fishing accident?
My parents used to take me fishing on the southern coast of Alabama. I don't think we were supposed to be fishing at the spot they found, but there was never anybody around to tell us to leave, so we did it anyway. It was really nice, and almost like a real vacation. Anyway, we didn't have a real boat. We had just 3 of those floating pool chairs that we'd like paddle out and just sit there and fish. It was really relaxing. Anyway, one day my parents caught an undertow and the current pushed them out deep into the ocean. So luckily I managed to get to shore, but it took me a while to find anyone for help. The authorities searched and searched for them, but all they could find were their pool chairs, empty.
Not the pool
It was
chairs.
really bad, but
Not the pool
I was
chairs.
placed into the foster care system.
No. This game is too twisted for this to all be true. Either this is all true, but she has a dark secret, or she's lying.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff. Yes, she did. The entire house is dark-sided.
My Uncle Albert? Oh, he goes back to prison all the time. He's actually serving a life sentence, but he keeps escaping.
Oh, let's go, Uncle
I
Albie.
don't know how he keeps getting out, but the guards catch him and put him right back in. Albert is from the dark side of my family. We didn't like to associate with them very much growing up.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff.
I have to say it one more time. Come on now. You know I'm going to have to ask about the dark side of the family. Dark-sided?
We were always a little bit ashamed to be related to Albert's side of the family, to be honest. I mean, I know that I'm not some great success or anything like that, but at least I'm trying to better myself. Albert's mom was a lawyer, and his dad was a member of Congress for over a decade. It's like they didn't even try to have honest jobs.
Okay. What about being in foster care?
I wasn't in the foster care system for very long. When I was 9, I was placed with a foster family, but unfortunately, my foster parents died the first night that I was with them.
Oh, for God's sake.
A burglar broke in and murdered them.
For
My
fuck's
foster mom was
sake.
able to call the police, but by the time they arrived, they were already dead.
No, hang
The
on.
police couldn't
No.
find the burglar anywhere.
No.
The prosecutor on the case assumed that I had murdered my foster parents.
No.
And even accused me of killing my birth parents.
What?
So he got the judge to sign off that
No.
I was going to be tried as an adult instead of a child, even though I was only 9. Luckily, they did find the real killer, and it turns out he was just really good at hiding, and he was in a crawl space under the house. So,
No.
unfortunately, due to
No.
this legal loophole that in Alabama, I was now considered legally an adult, so I was out of the foster care system and I had to find a job. So I worked in a coal mine.
You worked in a coal mine?
No,
No. She's a pathological liar.
I moved out of Alabama.
She's a pathological liar. There's no way. She is America's most unfortunate child. This is somebody spinning a yarn. I cannot believe, especially after the rest of Vegas Tales so far. With the way that the rest of the game has been so far, this is someone who's pathologically lying to us. I'm sorry, I cannot believe this. It's too much. Moved out of Alabama.
I didn't have much money saved up, so I had to hop onto a train like they do in the movies. Only it wasn't exactly like how they do it in the movies because there were no big empty cars with those open sides that you could just hop right onto. The best I could find was a small platform that stuck out from the train a couple of inches. I was able to put my feet on that, and then there was a handle that I could cling to. I figured that I could just stay like that for an hour, and then I'd be across state lines, but unfortunately, the train picked up a lot of speed, and I was stuck clinging onto the train up until Detroit.
Detroit? No, come on. She can't be that unfortunate. She even ended up in Detroit? No.
Well, I hadn't intended on going to Detroit, but since I was there, I decided to make the most out of it. I got a job as the mascot at a children's restaurant. It was kind of a cheap ripoff of Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my god, she's Freddy Fazbear?
And I had
She's
a
Chica?
costume that wasn't so much a cute mouse as a scary rat.
Oh.
Luckily, the kids didn't seem to mind too much, but I was only there for a little bit anyway.
Let me guess, the restaurant burned down.
The first time I got my paycheck, I went to the bank and I was still in my rat costume. And unfortunately, 2 bank robbers came in also in costume. So when the police showed up, they assumed that I was with them.
Of course, yes. And then you got arrested because they thought you were robbing the bank.
I was able to sort things out at the police station.
Of
and
course.
I got off, but my picture in costume was already in the newspaper. So my boss didn't like seeing his mascot on the front page of the newspaper.
So you got
for
fired,
bank
yeah.
robbery,
Mhm.
So I got fired.
No. No. She's like cosmically unlucky. The world we live in doesn't exist like Fallout 3 where you have a fucking luck number that influences how lucky you are. Yeah, she lives a Looney Tunes life, apparently. No, I'm calling it now. There's a pathological liar in her midst. Why would you go to the bank dressed as the rat still? Okay, homeless?
I wasn't always homeless. Actually, when I was in Alabama, I had 3,000 square feet to myself. I felt like a wealthy land baron or something. But I didn't have a house on the land, but I did have a really nice tent at first. It was great. I lived there for a full year before I could save up for a house. Well, not a house. I actually bought an 8-foot by 10-foot shed that was fantastic. It was just as good as a house. Had a roof, 4 walls, a window, a door, everything I needed. I don't know why more people don't just live in sheds.
Can I just say the actor, I wonder how many takes some of these lines took for the actor. Because some of this is just like hilarious. Shed?
That was the nicest place I ever lived. Unfortunately, 2 weeks
for
after
God's
I bought
sake!
that shed, it was swallowed in a sinkhole. So there was really nothing left for me in Alabama. I decided to chase my childhood dream and move to Albuquerque.
Her childhood dream was to move to Albuquerque. Said no one ever. Albuquerque? Question mark.
Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to move to a big city. You know, one of those places that musicians write songs about? A place like Albuquerque. When I finally moved to Albuquerque, it exceeded my expectations. All the glitz, all the glamour, it was incredible. And the best part was the people were really nice. It was great. I'd probably still be there today if it weren't for the puppy incident.
Alright, what about the puppy incident? Go on, tell us about the puppy incident. Here we fucking go again. She's in the business of misery, it's ticking like a clock.
A little boy had lost his dog, and the entire community banded together to try to find it. Every business had some sort of poster in the window asking for people to find the dog, and I actually came across the dog, but unfortunately it was already dead.
Of course it
so
was.
I buried it.
And you buried the dog, and then they thought you murdered the
I
dog.
wanted to do that thing that they do in TV shows where you replace one dead animal with a new alive animal that looks the same. So I went to every pet store in town until I found
Okay,
a dog that looked like the dog
don't do that.
I had buried that had
Don't do
died.
that.
I brought it to the little boy's family and they seemed so happy. It was great until about 2 weeks after that when I found out the truth. The little boy and his family weren't looking for a lost pet. Unfortunately, they were looking for a dog that had bitten the little boy. They wanted the dog to see if the dog had rabies.
Come on, the fuck.
Since I didn't bring the correct dog back, they couldn't test the dog, and it turns out the dog that bit the little boy did have rabies.
Oh my
That's
god!
why he died. The story doesn't have a happy ending for the little boy, and I couldn't face the townspeople anymore, so I had to move out of Albuquerque.
Maybe just stick to your own business in future, Mallory. Maybe just, like, stay in your lane. Stay in your shed next time. Job interviews?
My first job interview was for a job selling jewelry. I didn't have any experience, so they said they couldn't hire me. My second job interview was at an adult video store. They needed someone to clean up those video booths after customers used them. I also didn't have any experience with this, but I really wanted the job, so I lied and said that I'd been doing it for 15 years already in 3 different cities.
I mean, if it gets you a
I
job.
thought for sure they were going to hire me, but for some reason they didn't. I guess that was karma telling me that I shouldn't have lied.
Yes, that was your greatest crime. Lying to try and get a job in an adult video place. Chat, no. No, I'm sorry. I can't. I cannot.
I used to work at the Bellflower as a professional gambler. That's actually how I met Mr. Davenport.
Professional gambler?
His security guards thought that I was cheating, actually, so they brought me in for hours and hours of questioning. Thankfully, they looked through the security footage and saw that I was not cheating. They could have just kicked me out, but Mr. Davenport was so kind, and he actually put me in a room for a full week to make up for the trouble that had been caused. This is the nicest hotel I've ever been in.
Professional gambler?
Oh, that was the wildest thing. I actually ended up here in Vegas by accident, but while I was here, I figured I might as well try gambling. It turned out I was extremely bad at it, though, and I actually caught the eye of a wealthy man who asked me to be a professional gambler for him. So he would give me money to play craps, and then he would bet on me losing. And we actually made a great team, and he made a ton of money off me.
Right, okay, and
But
then he
the
betrayed
casino
you.
started noticing what was
Or something,
happening,
yeah.
and they started kicking us out. Mr. Davenport was the only one who was really nice about it, though.
I think some of you are right in chat. I think she's a con artist. I think she goes from place to place, spinning yarns and fleecing people out of money with more and more elaborate sob stories. So you're in Vegas by accident?
Well, I didn't mean to end up here, but I was on a bus on my way to Denver, and the bus stopped here, and I got off to use the bathroom, but I guess I took too long because when I came back out, the bus was gone, and it also had my luggage on it, so when I got here, all I had was the clothes on my back. But I'm glad it happened because I had a really good time here.
Apart from the person who, harvested the kidney from me in that alley. Oh, did I mention that? Whoever wrote this game, give them a fucking award, please. This game's hilarious. Whoever wrote this, I'm a big fan of your work. There's some real, American sitcom vibe going on here. Do you know what I mean? Like, she could be like a Parks and Rec character, for real. I could imagine a Parks and Rec character who's always just very unlucky, being like a recurring bit part in that show. Do you know what I mean? It's surprisingly funnily written. Denver?
Well, I wasn't in Denver proper, but I was about half an hour away at this ski resort very close by. Anyway, I worked at the ski resort first as a ticket salesperson.
And then somebody died on the ski slope and they thought that you killed them or something, yeah?
I worked really hard to become a ski instructor. But sadly, like all my jobs, it didn't last. The first time I took a group out to go skiing, I was supposed to bring them to an intermediate level hill, but unfortunately I read the color coding wrong and I brought them to an advanced hill. There's a huge difference between an intermediate hill and an advanced hill. I, of course, lost my job.
And also 7 lives were lost that day.
Oh, I've done it all. I've delivered pizzas, I had an ice cream truck, I worked in a pet shop, I even worked on a cruise ship. I've had some truly wonderful jobs, but sadly...
You worked on a cruise ship up until it hit that iceberg? Cruise ship.
That was the most amazing job I've ever had. It was also the shortest. Unfortunately, the first time that we went out, we actually hit an iceberg and sank. Like
Come on! No!
Some of the lifeboats got destroyed, but most
No,
people
you
were able to
fucking
get on them.
didn't.
The rest of us had to survive.
No,
by
you fucking
climbing
didn't.
onto the iceberg.
That did not happen.
After the ship sank, there were over
No.
80 of us stranded on the iceberg, and we had no way to call for help, no food, no
Make it
water.
believable next
So out
time.
of desperation, we took off our clothes and we tried to form a sail out of them, hoping that we could ride the iceberg to shore.
No, that did not fucking happen. Yeah, exactly, Mackay. She's like an Ace Attorney character. She's like Maggie Bird, or whatever her name is. Maggie Bird, who's like always unlucky and always gets like pointed at as like a criminal, but she's actually just very innocent. Okay, so you made a sail out of the clothes of the people on the iceberg. What happened next?
The sail we made out of our clothes didn't end up working, and it didn't move the iceberg at all.
Can't imagine why.
Actually, after an hour, it just blew away in the wind anyway, so we were just left there half naked and freezing. Luckily, a cargo ship came upon us, and they were able to rescue us from the iceberg. But we didn't speak their language, and they didn't speak English, so we couldn't explain to them why we were all half naked on an iceberg. They dropped us off in Quebec.
And then you ended up in Quebec? No, that's how I know you're lying. She ended up in Detroit and Quebec? You can't be that unlucky.
I don't know what happened to the other survivors. When we got to Quebec, we all just separated. Hitchhiking back to the United States from Canada was really unpleasant. Everyone only spoke French, and I was still half naked. Luckily, someone did stop, and they had a pickup truck, so they let me sit in the back, and they stopped 20 miles from the New York border, which was great because I only had about a 6-hour walk back to the States.
Hitchhiking?
I know they say you shouldn't hitchhike because it's dangerous, but the thing is, I've had a lot of luck hitchhiking over the years. The first time that I hitchhiked, I was going from Detroit to Albuquerque, and these 3 really nice dudes in a hippie van picked me up. It turns out they were a traveling folk band, and they taught me how to drive so that I could drive down the highway while they were practicing in the back. It took a really long time to get to Albuquerque because they kept having to stop for shows, and we did have to camp in their van every night, but it was still great. You know, I've met my fair share of famous people over the year, but this was really cool because they were real musicians, and we got to get pretty close. Also, by the time we got to Albuquerque, I was so good at driving that I passed my driver's test the first time.
I thought she said she went from Alabama to Albuquerque. Right? How did the musicians die? Here we go.
I met Orville Redenbacher at the airport once. It was awesome. He was in line trying to get his luggage, and I thought, should I approach him or should I not? You know, I imagine a famous popcorn magnate like that is probably constantly having groups of people swarming him trying to get his autograph. But anyway, I decided to go for it. So I went up to him and I said, I love your popcorn commercials. And he was really flattered and turned out to be a super nice guy. He even signed my cast. Anyway, that was in 1997. I found out later that he had actually died in 1995, so it couldn't have been him, but it was a really nice old man, and it was still a really fond memory.
But there you go. Somebody was like he died in 1995, but don't worry. She already had an explanation for that. Oh, this is hilarious. Somebody said that this actor actually does kind of like bits like this. I don't know. Don't know this actor's name, but like she says things that are like absurd with a straight face. That's kind of her thing. So maybe like she had a part in writing this. Katie Marovich, she's known for this kind of thing. You mean the acting, not the terrorism. So this is like what she does. This is really fun. That's really cool then. They let her cook. I'm loving this. Even though this character is totally full of shit. Okay, airport?
Oh, I wasn't at the airport to catch a flight. Sadly, I've been homeless a few times throughout my life, and one of the tricks that I picked up was that you can go to an airport and pretty easily find a place to sleep. I think they're used to having people who need to find a quiet spot because their flight is delayed or there's a long layover.
I've heard about somebody who lived in an airport for like a year.
Find a spot and just sleep there. But there is a trick, and that's to not overstay your welcome. So after 7 or 8 hours, you gotta get out of there. Also, you should never go back to the same airport twice unless a few years have passed. You know, I found a few creative places to sleep over the years. You just gotta know the tricks.
Places to sleep?
A lot of homeless people will choose gas stations and fast food restaurants to sleep at overnight, but I think that's actually a really bad idea because they're out in the open and the employees are probably going to have to kick them out. So when I was homeless, I always made sure to find a very hidden spot. So, for instance, I once worked at a fast food restaurant and I noticed that there was a ladder out back. So I climbed it and there was a beautiful roof that I could sleep
And then
in.
what happened? Did a meteor hit the
I slept
restaurant?
there,
Or was there a
every night
fire?
that I was working there.
Did the restaurant
and
explode?
Just made sure that no one saw me go up and no one saw me come down. So I had my smartphone, thankfully, to set an alarm to make sure that I'd be down in time and also get to work in time. It was working really well for a few months, but then eventually someone did see me go up on the roof. They figured
Was
out
she the
that I
closing
sleeping
shift?
there, and I did get fired, but, you know, I can't really blame them.
Also, you said you had a cast when you met Orville Redenbacher or whatever his name is again?
I broke my arm at the zoo.
Of course you
You
did.
know those signs that warn
Of course
you
you
not
did.
to feed the
Of course.
animals? Well, you should really pay attention to those. I tripped over one, landed on the sidewalk, and broke my arm. It was okay, though, because I had an appointment at the hospital later that day anyway, so I just had my doctor fix my arm then.
Hospital?
Oh, I've been to the hospital a lot. I tend to get hurt pretty easily.
Oh, it's shocking.
You know, I've had so many x-rays and MRIs. I'm surprised I don't have superpowers.
How are you paying for that, though? This is America. Obligatory, don't catch you slipping now. How are you paying for that?
I've broken a few bones over the years. I've been in all kinds of accidents. A hunting accident, a skydiving accident, normal stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, normal stuff. She's just the world's most interesting, most unfortunate person. That's all. Yeah, coal mining accidents. Remember when you were in the coal mine as a child? Listen, chat. I could be quite naive sometimes. I definitely have a certain naivety to me. A little brother vibe where sometimes I believe things and then I find out that it wasn't true. But even I'm like, no. Even I'm wise enough to know that there's some sort of game going on here. Hunting accident?
I broke my leg hunting.
Oh, did you?
I was sitting in a tree with my friend and we had a few drinks and she told a really funny joke.
Why were you sitting in
anyway,
a tree?
I was laughing so hard that I
Are you
lost
red
my
pandas?
balance and I actually fell out of the tree right on an 8-point buck.
Of course.
They still gave me credit for the kill.
Of course, you landed on a deer and you got a KO from it. Funny joke?
A beer walks into a bar and says, "Give me a whiskey and a cola." The bartender asks, "Why the long pause?" The beer shrugs and says, "I don't know, I was born with them."
Skydiving accident?
When you see people parachuting on TV and in movies, it seems like they're being gently lowered onto the ground like a feather. But I am here to tell you that is not the case. Even with the parachute, you're actually falling really fast and impact can be really rough. I found that out the hard way. I was walking around and a skydiver landed right on top of me.
Oh, you're just like the
Actually
deer
broke
then.
my arm in 2 places and gave me a concussion.
Why were you walking around?
I never saw the skydiver again, which is too bad because I'll never have a chance to thank them.
Thank them for what?
Well, if it weren't for them landing on me, I wouldn't have gotten a concussion, so I wouldn't have gone to the hospital, and they wouldn't have given me an MRI. So I never
would have found the brain
that
tumor! Of
They say
course!
there's nothing they can do for me, but at least now I know I only have 3 or 4 months left to live, so I can start checking things off my bucket list.
Stop! You should speak to someone else gladly. She's not getting the money. She's not getting the fucking money. No, you're not getting the money, Mallory. Or not the money, the hotel. I mean, if she got the hotel, if this was all true, chat, if she's getting the hotel, it'll probably burn down anyway because she's so unlucky. Wait, she's not actually a liar. Maybe they'll only reveal that if you choose to give her the hotel. You know? Anyway, let's talk to Sarah Goodley.
I'm Alice Goodley.
I'm Walter, and this is Sarah.
It's so nice to meet you.
We're from Utah.
Mm-hmm. I probably could have guessed that.
We are very lucky to live there. Our neighborhood is just dandy. But then again, I guess everybody says that about their hometowns.
We have friendly neighbors, a brand new school, and the best darn volunteer fire department you could ask for.
Well, it's not perfect, though. Crime has been on the rise lately.
Oh, that's true. Last Halloween, 2 houses got toilet papered.
Yeah, a bunch of us pitched in, and we got those houses cleaned
The
up by
vibes.
noon.
The vibes.
Still, it was kind of disappointing to know that something like that could happen only a few blocks away.
Cleaning up all that toilet paper was really fun, though.
That's our Sarah. Always looking on the bright side of any situation.
By the way, whoever's choice it was when they were doing costumes for this game to make them all wear the same, generally same color of navy blue here. His is a little different maybe, but they're all wearing navy blue, right? Whoever chose to do that, I see what you were doing. I appreciate that. Volunteer fire department?
Being on the volunteer fire department is considered a huge honor in our town.
There are too many volunteers every year, and they can only let in so many people, so it's very competitive.
Well, the exception is on Thanksgiving. During the parade, they make everyone in town an honorary member. It's a nice gesture, and everyone gets very excited.
I was going to say, it's beginning to sound like Harvester.
For Thanksgiving.
We go all out for
You
all
always were
holidays
such a
and
kidder,
meals.
Sarah.
You should visit on Independence Day. We have a top-notch fireworks show every year.
Oh, and don't forget about the Easter egg hunt. That's my favorite.
Easter egg hunt?
You'd think the hunt was just about the kids, but it's just as much fun for us grown-ups, too. The night before the hunt, all the adults get together and spend a few hours hiding the eggs. The next day, all the kids spend a few hours looking for them.
Hooray!
It's like the adults get to play too.
Sarah takes hiding Easter eggs very seriously. Some of the places she finds to hide them are downright diabolical.
Oh,
Well,
Sarah,
I
you
remember
are the
what it was
worst.
like hunting for eggs as a kid. The best feeling was when you'd find an egg in a hard-to-find spot. If someone doesn't hide them in places like that, then the kids won't get a chance to feel like that.
Sarah never does anything without giving it her best effort. You should hear her music lessons.
Oh my god, tell me more about the music lessons.
Sarah's learning to play the piano.
I'm not that good, but I'm trying really hard to get better.
Well, at the rate she's improving, though, she might be a famous musician by this time next year.
She's exaggerating. I wouldn't want to be famous anyway. Piano for me is just like a hobby, like your knitting or daddy's gardening.
Daddy's gardening?
I like to make sure my family's eating at least some natural organic food.
Everything is so processed these days, and you can really taste the difference when you eat fresh vegetables straight from the garden.
Daddy works really hard on his garden.
I don't consider it work. I enjoy it. Plus, it gives me a chance to spend time outside.
Adults are weird. They can do anything they want, but if they want to, I don't know, play in the yard, they won't do it unless they find an excuse.
I love Sarah's outlook on life.
Isn't she just a ray of sunshine?
I do crocheting and knitting. I make clothes and blankets that I donate to local homeless shelters.
We used to just donate money, but there are just too many people in need. There's never enough money to go around, and winters get very cold in Utah.
And since we're able to buy fabric in bulk, we're able to donate 5 or 6 times as many supplies as we could otherwise.
The hats she makes are really nice too. They're so much more comfortable than anything you can buy at a store.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
You don't want to be famous?
When people get famous, they move to a big city so they can make lots of money. Once they've made all that money, they move to the place they really want to live. I already live in the best place I can imagine, so why would I leave in the first place?
Because home truly is where the heart is.
We love this hotel. We come here every year on vacation.
We take a lot of family vacations together. The only thing better than seeing the world is seeing the world together.
This is my favorite vacation we take.
To Vegas.
I love coming here to Vegas.
That is true. It's all she talks about for months leading up to the trip.
I do get pretty excited about our vacation time.
Why would a family like this want to go to Vegas? Sarah Goodley of the Goodley family. Why Vegas?
I take 2 weeks vacation from my dental practice each year so we can go on a family trip.
It's safe to say our Las Vegas trips are our favorite. This is our 3rd year in a row coming here.
Next year, I'll be old enough to go to the casino floor.
Sarah won't be 21 until next month.
Is it like a mission thing? A mission to Vegas, maybe?
My father and grandfather were both dentists. All the men in my family were. Well, except for my brother Stephen. It's a family tradition.
Stephen is quite...
Oh, okay.
He lives by his own rules.
A lot of them have like a member of the family that they don't talk about.
That's clear across the state from us.
Salt Lake
He
City.
only comes to visit a few times a year, usually on holidays.
We do drive up to Salt Lake City once in a while. My friend Linda lives there too, so we get to visit her and Stephen in one trip.
I love how one of the questions here is just Linda?
Linda was my best friend back in high school. She was a bit of a troublemaker back then. To be honest, I was a bit of a rascal myself.
It's true. Alice and Linda were big mischief makers. Now, it may
Think
seem
of all
hard
the
to believe
mischief.
now, but Alice was quite the prankster in her teenage years.
How come I've never heard about this before?
Well, I am not very proud of some of the things I did, so I don't talk about them much.
Can you tell me about one of them?
Please.
Okay.
Called it. I called it.
Every April Fool's Day, Linda and I would send someone a pizza they didn't order as a prank.
You're just the
We paid
worst.
cash, so it couldn't be traced back to us.
You're so
and
naughty.
We also tip the driver, so they wouldn't get stiffed in the gratuity.
I hope none of those people were trying to lose weight. That could knock someone off their diet.
We were young and reckless.
You
so
are
we didn't
just
think about the
wild.
consequences back then.
I understand. I certainly got into my fair share of trouble when I was younger.
I was kind of hoping that when she talked about what she used to do when she was a kid, there's a little part of my brain that was like, oh, I wish there was just like a cutaway, and the cutaway just like looks like this. It's just her on the pole at the bar, surrounded by like shirtless guys. Chad, there's gotta be something to this family, right? There's gotta be something. Okay, what about Sarah's share of trouble?
I've caused as much trouble as anyone. I was once suspended from school for smoking. Another time I got detention for a whole week for cutting class.
Well,
I'm no angel.
cutting class, smoking. I wouldn't say that's the worst things, but I mean they're fairly bad. Suspended?
I was walking to my next class when a kid I didn't know dropped a pack of cigarettes.
Oh, here we go.
I instinctively picked them up for him, but just as I did, a teacher happened to see me holding them and sent me to the principal's
Have you ever heard of a
I
lady
couldn't
called
say they were
Mallory?
mine without telling
Sarah?
other kids, so I got suspended.
It worked out for the best. The kid eventually felt bad that Sarah was taking the blame for him and told the principal what really happened. Then he later became Sarah's first boyfriend.
Yeah, has she been taking lessons from Mallory? These people must know that the whole I'm writing a book thing is a sham. Some of these people must know. They're like too perfect as like willing I could inherit the hotel stories. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the cat's out of the bag here.
It's not what it sounds like. A couple of girls at school were playing a prank on this kid, Tommy. He was really unpopular. They pretended
Imagine
he
being
had a
unpopular.
secret admirer and started passing him all these fake notes. They were just building up his hopes to crush them. Eventually, so many kids got in on the prank that nobody even knew where it started. I didn't want to see him get hurt, so I pretended I was the admirer and we dated for 2 months. He turned out to be a nice guy, but I was only 17 at the time and nowhere near ready for a boyfriend yet.
Cutting class?
I skipped study hall and snuck into the school gym. The principal caught me and I got a week's detention. It's really not a very interesting story.
Well, that's not the whole story, is it? You didn't mention why you went to the gym.
I was helping to set up a surprise party.
Of course, yeah,
His 25th anniversary at our school was coming up, so we had to do something for him. My study hall teacher knew and gave me permission to skip class, but I couldn't say that without ruining the surprise party. Still feel bad about lying to the principal.
Now, honey, lying is sometimes okay when it's to help the person you're lying to.
Oh,
like
I
when
guess.
He got you your glasses.
I know, Daddy, but it still feels wrong.
But lying is bad.
Sarah used to babysit a little girl named Emily. She really looked up to Sarah. She always said she wanted to be just like her when she grew up.
One day, Emily had to get glasses, and she looked really cute, but she hated how they looked. She was super self-conscious about it, and she couldn't even stand to go to school anymore.
That's when Sarah came to me and asked if I could get her vision checked. She figured if she wore glasses too, then Emily wouldn't feel so bad about them anymore.
Daddy took me to get tested, but unfortunately my vision was 20/20.
Unfortunately, I'm perfect,
I've never
so...
seen somebody so disappointed to have good vision. That's when I took Sarah to the mall to get her a pair of fake glasses.
Daddy's the best. I started wearing them whenever I was around Emily, and it worked like a charm. She started liking her own glasses almost immediately.
Oh, how wonderful.
One thing you should never do is stiff a service worker. Tips are most of their income.
I'm ashamed to admit I am guilty of that myself. There was a time where I didn't know you were supposed to tip housekeepers when you stayed at a hotel. I'd been traveling for years before I realized it. I have no idea how many housekeepers I stiffed without realizing it.
Oh, they definitely wrote that line on purpose.
Supposed to tip and when they aren't. It's a big problem.
Well, I don't use a smartphone myself, But I hear one of the big problems these days is people don't know they're supposed to tip app workers.
I thought everyone knew that one.
Don't use smartphones.
We're a flip phone family.
I love flip phones. They're inexpensive, the battery lasts a full week, and they don't break when you drop them.
I like knowing Sarah has plenty of charge on her phone in case she needs a ride.
Well, you know, if I had a smartphone, I wouldn't have to bother you or Daddy when I need a ride. I could just use an app.
She's talking about those rideshare services. I just don't understand those. I mean, when I was growing up, we were taught never to talk to strangers on the internet and not to get into a car with a stranger. But now there's an app that literally lets you summon a stranger on the internet so you can get in their car.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't understand why they're so popular.
I'm sure there's plenty of useful apps on those things, but everybody that I know that has a smartphone, they just text each other. I prefer having to call someone. It's more of a social interaction for me.
I don't want to have to call someone to get a fucking taxi, though. I'm not really in that transaction for a social interaction. But it is something that people have pointed out before. It's like, when we grew up, the internet was like, don't tell people your real name or where you live. And now it's like, I live here, this is my name, this is my credit card stuff, bring me a pizza, thanks. But, I mean, people in the past did shit like that as well, you just phone them up. Salt Lake City?
Our trips to Salt Lake City are one of the few things we have trouble agreeing on. There's just so much to do. And
also, you can text with a flip phone, you're right.
I like to go to the zoo, Sarah likes the planetarium, and Walter likes the Natural History Museum.
We started playing a board game right before our trip. The winner gets to pick where we go.
Sarah usually wins, but she's very gracious when she does. Last time she won, she picked the zoo to make Alice happy.
I won twice in a row. I would have felt selfish if I picked the planetarium.
I bet they play really normie board games as well.
Forever. It wouldn't have been fair.
They probably play Monopoly and Scrabble and shit like that. Family board game night is like Boggle Championship. Yeah, these people definitely play Monopoly. Missionary and Monopoly. That's this family in a nutshell.
A few years ago, we heard that Las Vegas had undergone some changes and was very family-friendly now. Once we heard that, we just had to come check it out.
And we were not disappointed. There's a lot more to do here than just gambling and attending wild rock concerts. There's an aquarium, a history museum, and gondola rides.
We even found a soup kitchen that lets us volunteer every time we come here.
Oh, yay!
We do participate in some of the wilder activities, too.
Like what?
Last year, we toured the Pinball Hall of Fame.
Pinball? Careful.
I figured we are in Vegas after all. We might as well get a little crazy.
Already on the path to sin with pinball. Gambling.
None of us gamble, but I don't understand why it has such a bad reputation.
I've never gambled before, but I do want to try it when I turn 21 next year.
I've tried it. Gambling isn't really for me, but it seems like an innocent enough pastime.
What? What? Gambling ruins people's lives and families' lives. What? Rock concerts?
We've never been to a rock concert. We really should go sometime, though.
Walter wasn't the biggest fan of rock music for the longest time, but it was Sarah that convinced him to give it a try.
All the rock music I heard growing up just seemed so edgy, I figured it wasn't for me.
Daddy just hadn't listened to the right bands.
That's true, because I wasn't the biggest fan of rock music either, when all I ever heard were wild groups like the Beatles and Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
If Sarah hadn't shown me that there were less rowdy bands out there, I'd probably still be missing out.
Not the Billy Joel.
It's amazing how much Sarah's changed our lives.
Soup kitchen?
We all love doing charity work, but to be honest, Alice and I don't find nearly as much time as we should. Sarah, on the other hand, always finds the time.
She volunteers every week at an assisted living facility, a food bank, and an animal shelter.
She has a lot of free
I
time.
had her youthful energy.
Thank you. They're just being modest. They both do plenty.
When I was younger, I did what I could. Now all I really do is make the occasional donation.
What about when we went to the beach last summer?
That's true. We spent the day cleaning the beach, and we had a contest among ourselves to see who could collect the most trash bags worth of litter.
Daddy won by a full bag.
Congratulations, Daddy.
It doesn't matter who fills the most bags. What matters is doing our part for the environment.
Yes,
Every
thanks.
piece of litter you pick up off the beach is one less piece that'll make it into the ocean. That's what Daddy always says.
I'm like trying to resist the urge to lose my fucking shit at this family. Animal shelter?
I've been helping out at the shelter for over a year now. I love working with the animals.
We used to be part of the neighborhood pet patrol.
Whenever anyone in our town lost a pet, we'd post flyers and work the phones until that family had their missing member back.
I miss doing that.
Oh, you should talk to Mallory about that.
We used to be part of the pet patrol, but it's handled online now. I hear it's very efficient, but We don't have the internet in our house, so we're not part of it anymore.
Yes, because the internet is full of sin. It's dark-sided.
I know people who have internet in their homes, and it does seem pretty useful, but there is a lot of bad stuff online.
Yeah, twitch.tv/Sinow
I've
Beats.
been online, and there's a lot of good stuff on there too.
I'm sure it has its uses. It's just too easy to stumble across unpleasant language. or other
Unpleasant
bad
language.
things. I just don't want it in my home.
Walter's dental practice does have its own website. People can book appointments online.
My secretary Janet runs the site for me. We have internet at the office, and she is great at using it. She spends some of her downtime on a website called the TikTok.
Oh, Daddy. It's not called the TikTok. Silly.
Honestly, I have no idea. Janet has showed it to me multiple times, and I just can't wrap my head around it.
Oh, he's so silly. Tell me more about your secretary.
I've known Janet for years. She's in my book club.
I play golf with her husband, Frank. They're good people.
Frank and Janet invited us up to their fishing cabin this weekend, but we had to turn them down.
We didn't want to be rude by declining, but fishing really isn't our cup of tea.
I just don't see how snatching another life form from their home could be fun. What did those poor fishies ever do to us?
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the reveal. Okay, what about the food bank?
Sarah used to only volunteer there once a month. She wanted to work more, but they didn't need the help.
True, but when Sarah wants something, she finds a way to make it happen.
While working there, I learned that a lot of the local homeless people were illiterate.
She talked them into letting her use their facility to hold a literacy class once a week.
It's every Friday night from 6 to 9. There wasn't a lot of attendance at first, but it's a pretty full class now. And I've made some good friends there too.
It's the one night a week that I let Sarah stay out until 9:30. Now, I don't want her coming home that late.
9:30?
It's really making a difference in people's lives.
9:30? Coming home that late? What a gamble. This is reminding me of a very old episode of The Simpsons where Homer starts to fear for his family's spiritual health. And he looks at Ned Flanders' family, and they're like the perfect Christian family that like sings hymns in the car together. And then he looks at his own car with his own family, and they're like hellions. They have like demon horns and stuff. This is the Ned Flanders family right here. Assisted living facility? Please tell me more about your philanthropy.
I love volunteering there.
Some of Sarah's best friends are residents there.
She's talking about Harold and Eleanor. I've learned so much from them.
They love having her there too. They tell me all the time.
Walter and I thought we did our fair share of volunteering, but Sarah puts us to shame.
It really shouldn't count as work if it's fun to do.
Shouldn't really count as work. It's just play.
Eleanor was a phone operator for most of her life. From what she says, there was a time when operators had to manually make phone calls go through. I can't even wrap my head around that.
I've known Eleanor for years. She organized the town's first bake sale, and she always had the best Christmas decorations every year when I was growing up.
Our town gets very into Christmas lights. Walking around and looking at all the decorated houses, it's a tradition for us.
I prefer driving around. It's a lot warmer.
Can't disagree with that. Sarah and I don't like the cold weather as much as Walter does.
Oh, I've always loved the winter. Playing outside in the snow is one of my favorite things growing up. I've made more than my fair share of snowmen.
Oh my god, stop. You're just wild. My ex liked to drive around and look at the Christmas lights of the various homes of Louisiana. I was like, oh, that's kind of unusual. I don't think I really do that. And then when they actually took me to do it as well, they would get hot chocolate and they would drive around and look at all the Christmas lights. Holy fucking shit, do the people of Lake Charles do the Christmas light thing. They really fucking do the Christmas light thing. Holy shit. I was not prepared. One of the houses had its own radio station frequency that you could tune into, and it would play music, and the lights on the house would sync up to the music. I was like, what the fuck?
When I was little, a tornado hit our town. 2 families lost their homes.
Oh my gosh.
Language, honey.
Sorry, Daddy.
Language.
Eleanor hosted a bake sale to raise money for those families.
The bake sale turned into an annual event. They raise money for a new cause every year.
It's a really big deal. Everyone in town goes.
Alice actually runs the bake sale now. She took over for Eleanor when she retired.
I'm not allowed to use the C word because YouTube will demonetize this video if I use it, but I have considered saying it a few times so far. I would like to say that much. In fact, I might even get in trouble for people saying it in chat on the screen. We're going to have to find out. regardless. Summer girl?
Walter likes the winter, but you will not catch me outside if there's snow on the ground.
We've never helped Daddy shovel snow once. We just stay inside with the heat cranked up.
Believe me, they more than make up for it in the summertime. I can't remember the last time I watered the lawn.
We do love finding excuses to work outside during the summer.
I'm starting a charity car wash.
All right, who have you
I already had
murdered?
A bunch of other girls signed up. We're starting on Memorial Day.
I love the car wash idea. There are always plenty of worthy charities that need the money.
Plus, it's a lot of fun. It's like getting to go to a water park for free.
I'm sorry, does your daughter just, like, have no hobbies or anything? She just has free time to do philanthropy. This is all she does. What else? Like, why is she not busy doing other things sometimes? Water park?
I love water parks. One of my favorite things about living in Utah is that we have so many of them.
I'm a bit of a water slide enthusiast myself.
I'm not really into the water slides. My favorite part is the lazy river.
I think Sarah's favorite part is all the attention she gets from boys when she gets to wear her bathing suit.
That's nice too, but I've always loved
Are you
water
allowed to say
parks.
that?
My parents used to take me all the time when I was growing up.
My favorite ride is the one where you have to cross a bunch of lily pads while holding on to the rope.
Walter always makes it across, though. I mean, that defeats the purpose. You're supposed to fall in. What's the point of going to a water park if you're not going to get wet?
I like the challenge. It's hard to get across. Plus, my feet get wet.
I don't think he gets it.
Now, Sarah, be careful. We wouldn't want to make one of God's soldiers stumble by making them have impure thoughts. Now, would we? So you should cover up. For all those of you who are wondering, that is actually how they often teach. Sometimes in certain parts of Christianity, they teach young women that they are responsible for making sure that God's little soldiers don't stumble. I've had multiple friends of mine tell me about being taught that. I was like, wow. Sarah's parents?
My mom and dad live just a few blocks away from us, so I get to see them all the time.
Oh, did you think Sarah was our daughter? We get that a lot.
I just don't understand why so many people think we're related. I don't see the resemblance.
Yeah, Sarah and I aren't related, but we are married to the same daddy.
Dun, dun,
We met Sarah when
dun!
she was 18 and fell in love right away. She became my second wife 6 months later.
Well done,
I
chap.
could never live up to his first wife, though. Alice is amazing.
Well done, chap.
Sarah's just being modest. She is an incredible wife.
You called it.
She's a crackerjack in the bedroom.
That's just because I had such a great teacher.
Oh, well, Sarah's the real
Oh, I
teacher.
love this.
Did you know that you could use your feet in the bedroom? We had never heard of
I love
such a thing,
this.
but Sarah showed us, and now, by golly, Walter can't get enough of it.
And don't forget the thing you do that Alice likes. I have no idea how she comes up with these things.
Well, I didn't invent them. I learned them on the internet.
No, the internet doesn't seem
This
that
is so
bad.
silly.
Maybe we should think about
This is
doing
so
that instead.
silly.
Can we, Daddy, please?
What can I say? Me and my horny wives. This is so dumb, but I kind of love it. I had a feeling they were going in this direction. Oh, that's so funny. They're polygamous. And she calls him daddy because it's like a sex thing. Chat, before we get onto the finale question mark of this game, maybe I should let you guys decide. Would you guys like to have the honors? You can pick whoever you want. You could pick someone that you don't think deserves the money just to see what happens. If it gives us the option anyway. I'm kind of presuming. Oh my god, I can't believe you guys voted for Mallory. Can't believe you voted for Mallory. No! I'm actually kind of curious though. I'm curious to see if she's gonna have a moment where she's gonna be like, haha, you fell for it, you fool. So I'm pleased that you guys have chosen chaos here, because it's probably gonna be a more exciting outcome. Unless she was actually telling the truth. Or maybe this is all a game by Mr. Davenport to test if I could actually believe people or if I'm cynical. But first of all, I have to tell this guy the story behind everyone. Ashley's retiring. She wants nothing to do with Las Vegas.
Well, that's surprising. I would have thought she'd be more emotionally invested in the Bellflower after running her magic act here for so long. I guess I must have misjudged her.
Mallory has an untreatable brain tumor. She's dying. She only has a year or two left.
That poor woman never catches a break, does she? I don't suppose it would be logical to leave a hotel to someone who's not going to be alive much longer than I am.
Sarah isn't Walter's daughter. She's his wife, so is Alice.
Well, I did not see that coming. I mean, I only considered Sarah because, well, she seemed like such a sweet, wholesome girl. I had no idea she was married to an older man who already had a wife. I don't know what to think about that.
What are you going to do with your hotel?
All 4 candidates have potential problems, but someone has to take over the hotel. I don't have any more potential.
What about the
heirs,
5th
and
candidate?
I've run out
Me.
of time to keep searching. Now, you've spoken to all of them. Who do you recommend?
Okay, here we go, chat. I can only pick one of the people in the game. I can't pick myself, which seems like an oversight. You should leave it to Mallory, says chat.
I thought you said she had an untreatable brain tumor.
The doctors say her tumor is terminal, but maybe she'll get lucky and beat it, or she's suffered her whole life. You can make sure she lives comfortably for the rest of it. I'll pick that one.
You're right. I should know better than anyone what it's like to have a terminal condition. I've been struggling with mine for some time, and I have a privileged life. I can't imagine how hard this must be for Mallory. If inheriting my estate gives her the life that she deserves...
Please,
even if
please
it's
make
short,
Mallory be some sort of con
all the
artist, and
better
she
for my
reveals it
life.
now. Come on.
If she can move into the hotel right away...
Please
then I
make her
can spend the rest
maniacally
of the
evil.
time I have teaching her how to run the hotel successfully. Well, she loves staying here so much now. I expect she'll be delighted by the idea. And you're the one that gave her the opportunity, so I think it's only fair that you are the one that gives her the good news.
Yes, 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 yes. They're totally building it up. Come on, here we go. This game's been so good so far. Please take it to the next level.
Among them, a saboteur, a traitor, the mole.
Oh, it's no problem. How's your book coming along?
I'm just little old me. There is no book. Mr. Davenport is dying. He asked me to interview select people he was considering leaving this resort to in his will. The book was just a cover.
Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. You really shouldn't lie to people. I learned that the hard way.
I apologize for deceiving you. I have good news. Mr. Davenport is leaving the resort to you. He wants you to take over as the owner once he passes.
That's unbelievably nice of him, and I'm so flattered. I mean, I'm sorry that he's not going to be with us anymore, but I want to help him as much as I can. The thing is, I have no experience in a hotel, so I'm not sure I'm right for the job.
Mr. Davenport doesn't have much time left. He'd like you live here. There's a typo. Mr. Davenport doesn't have much time left. He'd like you live here in one of suites until he passes. In one of suites. Did they write this bit at like 4 a.m. maybe? Kind of feels like it. He'd like you live here in one of suites until he passes. He wants to use the time he has left to teach you everything you need to know to run this place successfully. Are you interested?
That sounds like an incredible opportunity, and I really love the idea of staying here. But the truth is, I'm not going to be around for much longer than Mr. Davenport. I have a brain tumor, and I only have 3 or 4 months left to live, so maybe it'd be in his best interest to find someone who can be here longer term.
Like, are you wanting me to just give you money? Are you waiting until we sign the contract before you reveal that you're evil? What's happening here? He knows about your tumor. He thinks you're the perfect person to take over the hotel. He also wants to make sure the time you have left is pleasant. How long do the doctors say you have?
They say that untreated I have about 3 or 4 months left to live. 4 months if I'm lucky, but I never am, so probably 3 months.
Untreated?
There is a treatment, but honestly, there might as well not be. They say that it's early enough where they could probably remove the whole thing, but it would cost $40,000, and there's no chance of me finding $40,000. I mean, I've never known anyone who could spend $40,000 on something.
Mallory, please join the dots. If you own a resort, you'll be able to get the... Oh my god. You only need $40,000 to get your tumor treated? This place brings in twice that much every day. Let's go talk to Mr. Davenport. I'm certain he'll help you.
Are you serious? I don't even know what to say. That's incredible. I didn't know anyone had that kind of money. Yeah, let's go talk to him.
Maybe she doesn't want the hotel because the hotel would tie her down and she's a con artist. Mallory made a full recovery following the removal of her tumor. She inherited the Bellflower a month later and went on to enjoy the finer things in life while successfully running her resort for many years. What? What? She was real? No. No. What do you mean that was real? Anthony Vitale. I loved your writing. She got the monocle. What? What? But what? This makes me look like an asshole now because I didn't believe her. Am I the asshole? I never d- Oh, here comes all of the hindsight is 2020 people in chat. Unlike Mallory, all these people in chat who have 2020 vision, I never doubted her. I always believe. Yeah, fucking yeah, of course.